Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So I'm gonna be trying out a new foundation today that I just got in the mail. And so it's supposedly a little more like long lasting, so I'm gonna use a hydrating primer. You can see that my skin is doing pretty badly. I have a ton of just red spots all over my face, just like speckled. I look spotted today. Yeah. So this just arrived in the mail yesterday. It is the ETUDE House Double Lasting Foundation. They actually just reformulated it / discontinued it, and there's like a new serum version that people don't really like as much. So when I realized that they weren't going to be making this particular formula or type of foundation anymore, I hurried up to go and get it. It had been on my wish list for a while, but you know, I tend to do that thing where I'm like, oh, I just keep kicking the can down the road, and then suddenly it's like, oh, it's being discontinued, I have to buy it like right now. It's actually pretty watery. I know some people were even saying like way back in the day that this is a dupe for the Estee Lauder Double Wear, so I was expecting it to be a little thicker in consistency. But that's fine. If it's watery, that's actually, I prefer watery because that means it's less drying. But supposedly it has really good coverage, which I know a lot of Korean foundations, they're not exactly known for their coverage. So I definitely really want to try this, especially since my skin is not doing so well. So I want to make sure I can cover everything up. Foundation can look really cakey on my nose really easily, so what I often do is instead of actually putting it on my nose, I just take what's left on my sponge and I just kind of push it on. I thankfully don't have too much on my nose that needs to be covered, but it really doesn't take much to cover my nose. So I try and put as little on my nose as possible. It also means I don't get super oily during the summer. So this is what my skin is looking like now. You can see that a lot of my redness has been covered. It didn't quite cover the two spots down here, but these are really prominent, so I'm not really expecting anything to cover those without looking really cakey. It actually looked really nice. It definitely doesn't look as matte as I thought it would. There's like so many more Korean foundations I want to try this year. I've just been on a foundation kick again. I'm gonna start working on my under eyes. I'm gonna try this big shade right here, just see what happens. I'm really just honestly experimenting with seeing what I can use to correct my dark circles. I'm still having trouble figuring out what undertone my dark circles are. Like, I used to think they were yellowish, so I was gonna get like a lavender corrector, but I don't think that's true. They definitely aren't the undertone that a pink under eye corrector would correct, like the Becca one. I know that for sure. Green wouldn't work. I don't know about orange. I am thinking of trying lavender just for the heck of it, but you know, it's surprisingly hard to find a lavender cream product. So that's a little bit deep, you can see. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this shade right here to brighten it up a little. I'll just call that done. I'm gonna use this Pony Effect Cover Up Pro Concealer. I haven't used this in a while because I've been using my JX Triple Concealer for so long, but kind of want to try this out again and see how I like it. I can't remember really why I stopped using it. Yeah, I can't remember why I stopped using it because it definitely has really high coverage. I remember she once demoed it on her tattoo and her tattoo disappeared. So now if I look down and then I look up at the camera, you can see the shadow is still there, but it's definitely a lot less pronounced than before. I'm feeling kind of nostalgic for things that I used to use a long time ago, so I'm gonna take out this banana powder. It has cute little bananas inside of it. So the foundation actually has set down to feel minimally tacky, like it's not really transferring onto my fingers at all. So I only set my eyes, nose, forehead, and like my mouth area. I'm gonna just leave the rest be. I'm gonna start working on my brows while I think about what I want to do with my eyes. Once again, I don't really know what I want to do. I'm just sitting down to film today. I very rarely actually have my looks thoroughly planned. I oftentimes just have a vague idea of what I wanted to do, like I'll have something that inspired me. But it's not until I sit down that I will actually know what I want to do. As usual, I'm going to take the ink stain on Blackout and I'm going to use that to draw my brows in. Okay, so these are my brows on. I'm definitely kind of trying to keep things from becoming overdone, and I think the Cool Cookie color helps with that a lot. So I have some pink nails on today, so I actually think I might do something pink, because I don't actually think I've ever done a super pink look on this channel before, and it's like taken me years to get into the color pink, to embrace the color pink, to love the color pink, but these days I'm really getting into it. So I'm going to use the ABH eye primer. I stopped using this for a while because I hate it, but I always see everyone using it to such great results. It makes me want to try it again, even if I'm gonna just hate it again. I don't know, I just could never jive with this, but like literally everyone I know who does super colorful looks uses this. I use it with like a brush or a finger and I still can't ever seem to kind of just get along with it. I do notice I tend to use a lot less than most people. Like a lot of people, they'll apply enough that it really forms a nice opaque layer. But like I tried doing that and it really didn't work, so. I know it does have a really strong pigmented base so that you're meant to like kind of blank out your eyelid. But I don't know, I never could quite get into that. I always end up using the P. Louise base when I need an opaque layer, but I'm not sure if that actually like makes anything look more intense or if it's really just glorified concealer. It doesn't dry out my eyelids, so that's why I like it, but you know, I never can tell, does eye primer actually do anything? Who knows? Okay, so I'm gonna use the Strawberry Dream palette, which I've not featured before on my channel. I did feature it, I've used it a few times on like my Instagram. If you like really start scrolling, you'll see all of like my terrible photos and my bad makeup skills and stuff, but it's time that I broke it out again. So I'm first going to go in with the shade Skyline over here, kind of build up a base. I really want to use this because like this is so out of my comfort zone, and I might even pop in like a blue, I don't know. Either that or I'll use like a gold or something, we'll see. I don't want to scare myself away from pinks, so we're gonna just start slow and build up from there. I really like the Lunar Beauty like branding and image and stuff like that. Definitely really appeals to me as somebody who also really likes all things dreamy. I kind of want to smoke it out a little bit more than I usually do since we're doing no comfort zone today. I usually keep my eyeshadow super tight to my lower lash line, but I wonder if I just blew it out, what would that make my eye look like? Maybe I could even like place my blush higher and almost bring it down to my blush. Okay, so I have it pretty blown out now, you can see. So I'm gonna start packing on this brilliant pink shade. And I totally expect it to stain tonight, but that's okay. I don't mind staining. That's another reason why I know a lot of people really like the ABH eye primer, is because it kind of provides a barrier to stop the staining. And I'm just gonna really slowly press it on to prevent fallout. It actually is surprisingly not as intimidating on the eyelid as I thought it was going to be. I've not actually used this shade yet because it scares the skin off of me, so I've been avoiding it. I mostly stick to the top 2 rows in this palette. That's actually super pretty, and I'm gonna kind of keep it concentrated here, and I'm just gonna let the outer lash line be a little less prominent and soft and faded. Yeah, like that. And by taking my time to press it in nice and slow, I am getting very little to almost basically no fallout, which is good. It's a little scary, if you ask me. I feel like I look so different, but I can get into it. I'm gonna work this onto the center of my lower lash line too. Now it kind of almost has a graphic look to it since they're not connected. I'm gonna take Storm Cloud, which is this dark shade here. It's not quite black, but it's very deep. And I'm gonna use this on my lower lash line on the outer corner. I kind of like the idea of keeping my upper lash line fairly clean, so. I'm kind of using it like eyeliner, but it's literally just in the corner of my eye and it's in the lower lash line instead of my upper. So my upper remains clean. It definitely gives off like super like e-girl vibes, that's for sure. Especially if I were to like have dramatic lower lashes, which I might do. So you can see now my eyes look really downturned. It'll get fixed once I have lashes on my upper lash line though. I'm gonna take the shade Lightning on the inner part of my lower lash line just to kind of define my usual favorite area. I'm gonna use a different shimmer on the upper lash line, but I haven't decided what yet, so. Lightning has a very slight yellow shift to it. It's really pretty. It reminds me of like almost like a multi-chrome effect, but it's not a multi-chrome though. And I think I'll actually go ahead and take this Gold Horizon right here, which I know seems really unoriginal, but I think it'll kind of match the lower lash line, and I don't know, I think I've played enough outside of my comfort zone today. I could use some comforting colors. And I'm just gonna use this kind of towards the inner third, towards the center a little bit. I don't want to completely cover up the bright pink, so. So it almost looks like a cut crease, but of course it's not since it's not super defined. And now it almost adds kind of an orange effect too, where it mixes. So you can see the effect that adds. Actually looks really pretty. I'm gonna go back and deepen up my outer corner just a little bit because now it's kind of lacking contrast. I'm gonna go back into Skyline and I'm gonna add just a little bit more to my outer corners. I'm gonna curl my lashes. I'm gonna be putting on false lashes, of course, given how extreme this look is. In my last video, I forgot to put on mascara. I definitely won't forget this time though, because I feel like the mascara is actually gonna be what kind of completes the look this time. But I just love how I just completely forgot. And I don't think anybody else really commented on it, so I guess it's just whatever. I definitely want to make sure my lower lashes get properly emphasized today. I'm actually going to use the same lashes I used in the last video. They're just out and I just want to use them until they're worn out. I might have accidentally put them on like the wrong eyes last time, like put the right one on the left one, but I don't actually really think it makes a difference. I'm trying out this doe lash applicator. I like always use tweezers, but I kind of wondered if this would make things easier. I used to use my hands, and now now that I use like other things, I wonder how I used to be so good at putting on lashes. I feel like ever since I switched to tweezers, I suddenly got really bad at putting on lashes, which is a shame. If you find that because your eyes are flatter shaped like me, that some of the bands are like too curvy, definitely make sure you kind of take the band and like kind of wriggle it in your hands first. That'll make it more flexible and it'll kind of straighten out a little bit more. Alrighty, I think they're on, so I'm just gonna give them a quick curl. Because sometimes my eyelids will push them down, so I just have to curl them back up. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the eyeliner in my lower lash line. I'm just doing what I showed you in the last video. I went in a little further than normal, just because the eye look is a little more dramatic. So if you're wearing more natural, then do what I did in the last video where you kind of just keep it closer. And I'm gonna add just the tiniest bit on the outer corner, just to define the outer corner, again because I have that eyeliner effect going here, so I just want to make sure it's got some dimension and definition. But as you can see, I kind of left the middle pretty blank. So ironically, you can see that adding the eyeliner to my lower waterline has actually opened up my eyes. This is why we don't listen to Eurocentric beauty rules. Alrighty, now we're using lower lash mascara, and at this point I've used this in enough videos that I probably should toss it, right? I'm gonna apply basically as much as I can. It is kind of beginning to dry up a little bit. I'm really trying to like emphasize that dolly look with my lower lashes. My lower lashes have also been on this like sudden, like they suddenly decided like last week, oh, let's just grow as thick and long as my upper lashes, which I guess usually you wouldn't mind, but I have so few upper lashes that my lower lashes are now longer than my upper lashes, and I'm very confused. And as you can see, it like, you know, kind of looks a little asymmetrical almost. Next I'm gonna take a brush tip liner. I'm gonna take this brush tip liner and I'm gonna draw on some fake lower lashes to really emphasize the effect. I had bought this with really high hopes because the gel liner that I just used is like so good, but it's not that great as an eyeliner. It doesn't apply evenly, but it works great for drawing in lower lashes, so that's what I use it for, which is a shame because I got it during a buy one get one free sale, so now I have two that I don't use. Okay, so at this point the eyes are done and this is what they're looking like. Super dramatic. My eyes now look really, really round and large, especially vertically. And they also just look they look ever so slightly downturned, but like it's not super unflattering, so definitely something new for me. I've never done this before on this channel for sure. Okay, so now we're back to the rest of the face, which is looking very blank compared to my eyes, so it's time to finish this up. You know, now that I've added the yellow, my eye look actually looks surprisingly pedestrian. Like, it wasn't as pink as I imagined it would be. So I'll definitely try something more pink the next time I do pink. This was like back when I was first ever getting into makeup. This was one of the first face palettes I ever bought, but then I ended up never using it because it turns out probably not really my favoriteest colors, but I'm gonna try this hot pink right here. Now that I look at it though, I really should try using it because it might not actually be half bad. I was gonna like make this my travel palette, but you know, and I'm just gonna apply it really high, really close to my eyes. Oh yeah, so it's pretty pigmented, but that's why I'm using this really fluffy brush. I'm like connecting it to my eye makeup basically. It's almost kind of like a Japanese style where they apply it really, really close to their eyes. I personally really like doing this. You'll see my blush placement in almost all of my videos tends to be pretty high up. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush that will really let me place it where I want it. Just really sweeping it under my eyes. Trying my best not to disturb my eye makeup though. And then I almost drape it up my temple, but not too much. I'm just taking leftover product there, and then I'm gonna blend the rest down my cheek. It also has some gold glitter in it, like very, very small gold flecks in it. And it's not like you can see it on the face, but it translates it to ultimately being a very warm pink that harmonizes really well with the gold that I put down. Okay, so as you can see, I didn't apply very much. It's a little more than normal, but it's still not that much, but the way that I placed it, it's pretty dramatic. And it really works with my eye makeup now. I'm just gonna keep using the same palette since it's already out. I'm gonna use the bronzer up here, because now I'm curious. I'm not gonna cover up my blush too much. I'm just gonna add a little bit there, just kind of to just right there. I don't want to cover up the pink. I'm always like super confused at how exactly you're supposed to make sure that you apply your blush and bronzer, because if you apply this, if you mix them too much, or like if your blush is a super unconventional color and then your bronzer is another specific color, when they mix together the color wheel happens and you can get a really muddy result which looks super bad. So I'm always like, how do I do this? I don't really know. As usual, I never bronze my forehead because my forehead is like that big. Maybe I should bronze first next time. Just like kind of right over where I had placed the bronzer, and I'm just barely applying any pressure. I'm just gonna add that pink right back in. I actually really like this. I should use this more often. I am a super big face palette fiend, so I definitely have way more than I'm supposed to. And yeah, somehow I always end up using my singles instead. I guess face palettes are like eye palettes. It's hard for me to resist them. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. So I'm gonna go in and add some highlighter. I think I'll use this DIOR highlighter palette, the pale gold and the pink would be really cool to use. I'll use this one and then I'll use that one. I'll kind of mix them in like a gradation effect. It's hard to see. The pink is almost too deep for my skin tone, so sometimes it doesn't show up, or like it kind of shows up as a darker color instead. Okay, and I'll do that on my other cheek. I'll use my finger to apply the pink first. Okay, so now you can kind of see the highlighter. The pink doesn't show up super well, so I don't know, maybe that failed a little bit. And I am gonna go ahead and take a little of that pale gold as an inner corner highlight just to kind of tie everything together. It's a very similar shade to the lightning shade that's on my lower lash line, so it'll really help brighten everything up. So it's very subtle, but just kind of adds some cohesion to my look. Okay, so now for the lip, I can either keep it like this, where it actually looks fairly toned down if I use a neutral lip or a rosy lip, or I could really amp it up with a pinker lip, so I think I'll try a pinker lip. I don't actually have any like super hot pink lips because like I just don't wear them, but I do have a couple that are like on the pinker side. Okay, so I have these two lip colors here. This one is kind of a deeper, more subdued pink. This one is kind of more of a brighter pink. I'm gonna line my lips with a pinker color as well. So as usual, I don't know the color because they never put it on the packaging. Oh well. Alright, I'm gonna take, this is a mini SHISEIDO lipstick, the matte kind. It's in Rose Hip. I got this in a holiday set way back in the day, which is nice because I never run through a full lipstick, so minis are nice. I forgot how pink this was, oh my gosh. I should have used a lighter color lip liner because now I'm kind of having the like brown lip effect. I personally look terrible if my lip liner is darker than my lip color. I know a lot of people who pull it off really well, but not me. So I'm gonna now use the Ink Matte Blur tint. And I'm gonna put this on the center of my lips. It'll kind of dark deepen things up. And it should kind of correct that weird lip effect I have going on right now. Okay, so this is my lip color now. Looks a little bit better now. Matte is definitely not like my friend right now, just because of the seasons. My lips have been really dry, but I definitely did put on like a whole lot of lip balm before this, so I think that kind of helped save it a little bit. I'll just have some pretty crusty lips tonight, but that's okay. I felt like this was the kind of look that called for a fringe. I don't know, I feel like it just kind of adds to the effect. You can kind of see now. It also conceals my my awful hair day. So this is the finished look. It's definitely super different. I really like it though. I definitely could have gone more pink, that's for sure. The gold kind of really toned it down a little bit, but that was just me wanting to return to my comfort bubble, and gold is definitely one of my favorite colors. I really like the lower lash line effect. I love how round my eyes look right now. I actually really super dig it. Usually I like want to make my eyes look longer, but rounder is also good. The lip is definitely a choice. I almost never have a lip this pink, like ever. If I do pink, it's very rosy, but I really like this. I really like how it turned out, and I really had fun playing with colors that I don't usually play with. I don't want my channel videos to like back to back be too similar, so like if I do a really neutral daily look, I don't want to do another one the week after. I kind of want to like mix it up a little bit. So I'll probably do another neutral look soon, just because I haven't done one in a while. I kind of want to do one for like the winter, or like pre-spring or something, but I'm loving how this turned out. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys kind of got some inspiration to maybe play with colors that you don't normally play with. Try something new like I did today and see how it turns out. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!